Now our curriculum supports Q&A session with Christine K. Jones, Benetech Labs, Anya Evmanova, Amy Hutchison, and Kelly Regan, George Mason University, and Megan Best, Attainment Company, Inc. Dr. Lisa Waters is our moderator.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for those wonderful presentations. I think, we've seen some trends in some of the questions that actually are for all three of our presenters today. One of the biggest questions we've gotten is, what does this cost? So if you guys could take a moment and just kind of talk, I know, Megan, you had some of that in your presentation, but if you guys can just talk us through a little bit about what are the costs of these products that you're talking about today?
Well, I'll start. So Bookshare is free for all qualified U.S. students of any age. So that can be K through 12, post-secondary, even adults going back to school. So any qualified U.S. student of any age can access Bookshare for free. People who have qualifying conditions who are not students pay $50 a year for an unlimited number of books.
Wonderful. Anya?
Sure. So the technology-based graphic organizers are available for free to anyone who is interested in using them, as well as the support materials for teachers. Right this second, you would have to email me to get access to the graphic organizer. However, a little later in the summer, as we finalize the refinements, they will be available on the website. It will be wego.gmu.edu. wego.gmu, George Mason University.edu.
And then for Attainment's products, again, it's free trial through the end of the month of June. So you can go ahead and check it out and see if it's a good fit for your students. And then the prices differ based on the program. So they run somewhere between $119 to $299 per program. And that includes a 3-year license for a classroom. If you wanted to purchase all 5 titles of our ELA programs that I went over, I think it's $799 for a 3-year license.
Great. Thank you, everyone. The other question we had a number of requests to find out a little bit more information about was data. So what kind of data does the product actually, take in, and how does that get shared back with teachers?
So teachers in their Bookshare account can see what different books students have access to. So what reading lists they've been assigned, what books they've been assigned, and then they can see which of those books they have downloaded, in what format and on what day. So that's the information that we make available, and that's in the teacher's login to Bookshare.
And for the technology-based graphic organizers, there is actually quite a bit of data collected and reported to teachers. There was a brief slide that nobody could read that showed the rubric. So there is a way to evaluate student writing. But in addition to that, we collect such data as the use of support strategies, the use of video models, how long students use the video models, how long they stayed on each page, whether they use text-to-speech, and all the mouse clicks that students have done.
And for Attainment's products, as you saw through the tutorial, teachers create a student account, and then they can go in and see different things like usage, how much time a student has spent on each product, as well as how they responded to questions within each product. So you can see how many opportunities it took them to get it right, or if they never got it right. And the software is going to help also move students along to the next level with that data collection process as well.
Great. The next question that we've heard a number of people asking is, how do we support our English language learners? What supports do any of you have for other languages in addition to just English?
So Bookshare books are available in dozens of languages, definitely Spanish, French, Vietnamese, variety of Asian languages. The trick is that the person reading the book will need a text-to-speech tool in that language. And there are lots of options for that. The read and write tool that I showed, for example, that is from TextHelp, that's an extension available in either Chrome or Safari or the new Edge browser, has a lot of different different languages available to read. So they just have to use a tool that has, for example, if they're trying to read a book in Spanish, they need a tool that has a Spanish text-to-speech voice. But there are dozens of languages, and actually, for example, Spanish, I believe at last time I checked, there were more than 10,000 titles in the collection in Spanish. So we have a very large collection in some of those languages, and others, the number of books available will be much smaller, other languages, but definitely there are options in many languages.
Is Bookshare also available in other countries?
Great question, and yes, there is a great page on the website that explains all of it, but it's available anywhere. The price that one pays for Bookshare depends on the country they're in. So we have some information about that. If you go to bookshare.org and then look for international information, you'll see that there.
Okay, and unfortunately, the graphic organizer is in English only at this point. We're trying to get it in one language first. However, we have used it quite successfully with ELL learners. We've done quite a bit of research with that because it was designed having students with disabilities in mind. It is using a lot of sort of simple language and a lot of picture supports within the graphic organizer. So while it is not students, English language learners are not the target population for this, we have used it with these students quite successfully.
For attainments programs, unfortunately, they're all in English at this time, but since they are ELA programs that are designed for kids with disabilities, a lot of those same strategies and evidence-based practices that are embedded in the software and the teaching script could be very beneficial for students that are emerging bilingual. And so it could still be very supportive for those populations as well.
Thanks, everyone. Megan, I'm going to put you on the spot real quickly again. Can you talk a little bit about how your product works with switch devices and other ways to access the material?
Yeah, there's some setting options for each of the programs. So if you have a student that utilizes a switch, you can set that up in the settings and the user settings when you create a singular student account for that student. You can set up those options so that they can access via whatever switch device they're using. I can put my contact information up again, and if anybody needs help getting that set up, I'd be happy to provide a tutorial for that.
Great. And I think for all of our panelists, putting your contact information up, we've gotten a lot of requests for, Anya, how do we reach you? However you feel comfortable sharing that information. I know that people on the call would really appreciate it. One of the other things that it seemed to be a trend in our questioning today is, can you work with individuals only, or do you also work with schools? And I think this is a question for the three of you to talk about or to address individually for your product, but how does your product work best for students?
So for Bookshare, there are two kinds of accounts. There's an organizational account that schools sign up for and add qualified students. And then there's the individual account that a parent or student can sign up for separate and apart from a school. The best recommendation, best practice from our standpoint is to have a hybrid of the two, to have for a student to be on a school account. And then there's an easy way, as I was showing in the video, to provide the student a full individual membership as well. So they can search for their own books, but that way teachers can also push books to them. So that's what we recommend.
We've done it in many different ways. For the grant purposes, we have worked with schools. However, a different number of teachers at a school used our graphic organizers. Sometimes it was just one teacher who wanted to use it, and sometimes it was a whole grade level. So it really varies. We also got a lot of interest from parents, from articles that we published or conference presentations that we've done. So we've shared the graphic organizer with parents as well, and they were able to use it with their children as well. So it works in all different ways.
And for our products, definitely, what you were seeing with the software, most of those programs are blended programs that also come with a print component, so that you can kind of mix the two and have, teach the teaching script with print and teach it through the software. And so it was definitely intended, to be implemented in small group or even one-to-one. It's a little more challenging with the distance learning. However, it could be done in small group in a classroom or, using the software. Many of our programs can be implemented with a small group, all accessing the software at once and taking turns in the different applications that we offer.
Great. My next question is going to go to Christine specifically. Christine, we've had a number of people who have asked about the best way to read Bookshare books or the free apps that might be available to be used with Bookshare. Can you talk to us about that a little bit?
Certainly. So the easiest way is the one that I showed where a teacher assigns a book to a student, or a student finds the book on their own if they're an individual member, and they find that Read Now button. So if they're on Chrome, if they're on Safari, or if they're on the new Edge, the latest version of Edge, they'll access that Read Now button. It'll open up in the browser. They don't have to download anything. They don't have to download the book or download any software. It literally just is almost like having a built-in reader in the application. So they just click the Read Now button, it opens and reads. However, to make reading possible on a lot of other devices besides desktop computers or laptops, in that case, or Mac computers, there are apps for mobile devices that we highly recommend. And both of these that I'll mention work for both the iOS mobile devices as well as Android. So those would be Dolphin Easy Reader, and that's actually a free app and it integrates very nicely with Bookshare. And then Voice Dream Reader, 3 words, Voice Dream Reader. That app also works very beautifully with Bookshare, and that one has a small cost associated with it. I believe it's actually on sale right now. So definitely check that out. And those apps allow members to log into their Bookshare account within the app and find books and read. So we suggest that, yes. And somebody's mentioning Capty, and I'll definitely second that. That's a great tool as well. CaptyVoice.com is a web-based solution, and then the Capty browser is available for the iOS mobile devices. And there's a free version and also a premium paid version of that app as well.
Great. I think we're getting a little bit close to time. I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions, but this one I'm going to open up to the entire panel again. There have been a number of people who have asked about accessibility. And so when we say it's accessible, who are these tools optimized for? I know that one question specifically is about ASL. I know that some of the products have limitations on who they're designed for or how they're being used, but could you speak a little bit to that, each of you?
Okay, so Bookshare operates under a copyright exception that makes it legal for us to distribute books to people with certain conditions, and they're determined by copyright law, not education law. So that gets a little confusing, but the bottom line is if a student can't see the print because they're visually impaired, if they can't process the print because of some kind of a learning disability or processing disorder, or if they can't hold the book or turn pages, they likely qualify. And on our website, bookshare.org, there's a drop down that says it's Bookshare for me, and underneath that it says who qualifies. So you can go there to get more information.
Great, thank you.
So the technology-based graphic organizers are accessible to students with other disabilities. However, if you notice, they are quite complex. Definitely were developed having students with high incidence disabilities in mind. So it might be somewhat challenging for students with more severe cognitive disabilities, or even with someone with visual impairment to use it, even though it is accessible and has been tested with screen readers. It's kind of like a lot of things happening there. It's not the most clean project for that purpose. However, it does, because it is web-based application for Chrome, it does work with other Chrome applications such as speech-to-text, word prediction, and others. So students could sort of access and type in information alternatively, not just by typing it in.
And our products are designed primarily for students with moderate to severe disabilities, so looking at intellectual disabilities and autism. However, it can work for a variety of disabilities. I talked earlier about how if a student requires switch access, that can be accommodated as well. There's a number of evidence-based practices embedded into our software and print curricula, like time delay, prompting, and our software has those as well. So it can be great for a variety of students that really need the targeted objectives that each program is working towards.
Great. Well, unfortunately, we are at time. And so Christine, Megan, and Anya, I really want to thank you again for your wonderful presentations and the questions that you were answered. Thank you, everyone. We appreciated you joining us today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.